Ah, 그거.
Today I am your team leader. So when I say these words, we can do it.
Biz şurada izliyor hemşehriler.
아,
Evet. Soralım mı? Varsa hemen bakalım.
Next time we see it, I want
Those 6 folks from Tennessee right there, big crew, right up back. Where you guys from?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Turkey? Oh, whereabouts in the North Shore? Oh, Marblehead was one of the worst commutes ever. Right there, right? Yeah, Marblehead, Gloucester. It's like going up to Maine and going out to those islands out there, those peninsulas. Where are you from? North Carolina. Welcome from North Carolina. Who else back there?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. My friend moved down there 20 years ago to make it big in the music business. How many people have done that? He produces a band called the Kings of Leon. You ever hear those guys? Yeah, Angelo Battaglia. He's written music for like Trisha Yearwood. He's done all right for himself. So behind Nashville, a beautiful city, the music city, right behind Nashville.
California.
Oh, whereabouts in California? Don't say Bay Area, Orange County, or Southern California.
Sacramento.
What's that?
Sacramento.
The state capital, beautiful, from California. All of you folks right there. So how many of you are visiting Boston for the first time? Quite a few. Interesting city. This is a picture, a map of what Boston looked like back in 1966. Red Auerbach, the coach of the Boston Celtics, stepped to a microphone for a press conference where he announced that Bill Russell would become the first African-American NBA coach. See this library right here? This is the largest public library in America, 14 million books. The only library bigger than that is the Library of Congress. Look down to your right. Your park garage is part of this college, Boston Technology Institute. 50 years later, they wanted to expand. Land in Boston was getting expensive, so they moved to Cambridge, where we all know land is cheap, and they named the college Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Ağzımdaymış bu ya.
Now, this building on the left coming up here was the Museum of Natural History until they moved to Cambridge in 1951 and changed the name to the Nancy Kerrigan got married. The Olympic ice skater got decapped by Tanya Harding's boyfriend, number 5D53. That's the same, but I was on the yacht, but I wasn't on the wedding. She married a manager, Jerry Sullivan, there in 1992. Now, the oldest building in this part of the city is also the most interesting. 41 Plymouth. It's like a lot of fun for about 2 hours. You saw that movie, Mark Wahlberg. They also filmed a scene from Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon, Robin Williams sitting on a bench having a heart-to-heart conversation. But it's a spectacular park, and they've got trees from every state except for Florida, Hawaii, and Arizona. So whatever your state tree is, it's in here somewhere. There were little signs on all the trees. But look to your left, there's the lagoon they put in there. This building on the left right here was the home of Daniel Parker. Daniel Parker was a senator, final term as governor. You walk down the stairs, shake hands with their successor, and the Constitutional Convention adopted the Massachusetts Constitution, almost word for word, as our national constitution. This is a park dedicated to those that have fallen in the Revolution, the line. So this is the neighborhood where TD Garden is located as well, the home of the Celtics and the Bruins. You guys in California, you like basketball? Water, you guys want to go in the water? All right, like 6 people want to go in the water out there. We'll have to find a place to wrap the rest of these folks up. So to get to the condos, the power of advertising. Do you remember that ad, Edie, on it? That's a big piece of the Berlin Wall. There's always a crowd here. They have DJs here sometime, large crowds of people, little kids. Look at that little kid. Oh my God. All right, you guys ready? We're up. Beautiful. So here we are in the Charles River. I'll make that quick. always needs sand. Right next to that concrete plant is a railroad track. They own that railroad. And one day, before the Declaration of Independence was signed, George Washington was in Cambridge Common, at great personal cost for themselves and their families. This whole time, finally, a standing army, the Continental Army, and then George Washington commandeered a bunch of the buildings on the Harvard campus to house those soldiers, and that building is the only one left. So there were kids going to Harvard right now, living in rooms once occupied by soldiers for. So, you guys like Italian food? Oh, everybody likes Italian food. The oldest part of the city is the North End. We don't go to the North End because the streets are really narrow, and if we went there, the tomb is there, the Old North Church is there, the oldest church in Boston I mentioned earlier. We just had a glimpse of the steeple up there at the Old North Church, but a couple of stops on the Freedom Trail, really interesting. Both an election on Boston Common, we call it June Day. They did it this year for the 387th consecutive year. It's a cool tradition. They elect the new commander, and you know what that new commander does? He steps onto that balcony right there. Royal Governor Ruled Damaspe Coney from, oh my God, Scam Langley. You know that guy? Anyways, so they built the new State House in 1798. In front of that building, 5 colonists were killed back in March, because that company was founded in Quincy, 5 miles from here, back in 1950, 75 years ago. The oldest burial ground is here on the left. Buddy, you can't stand in the outlet. You got to say season, okay? That's the where all the Puritans are buried. See that round circle of tin right there? A lot of people stop and pay their respects there, but it's just a ventilation show. One month after the March. You ever hear of a school called Emerson College? Emerson College? Jennifer Coolidge on White Lotus, Difflin Pond, and American Park. They have the most popular college radio station in all of New England, WPRS. And they own buildings in the theater district. Now, my BU graduate back there, remember when Emerson literate audience. That kind of makes sense. The first college, Harvard University, the first public lending library, the first public school, those periods. Now, they really cared about 2 things, education and hanging witches. So, you know, the education part is kind of important at the end. Now, the one with the black and white sign on it, that's the Wilbur. That's where Chris Rock made his first appearance after the slap heard around the world. You ever eat a Dave's Hot Chicken? I had a guy on 2 years ago, got all excited, was pointing at it. I said, "What are you, Dave?" He got off the duck and said, "Actually, I'm the CEO of Dave's." He was all happy. They just opened a new restaurant. He was like a franchise guy. He started Wetzel's Pretzels and Blaze Pizza. Now, you guys have watched the Muppets? You know, the little old men that bicker in the balcony, right? The guy that created the Muppets, Jim Henson. Well, he saw the 2 men that ran these companies, the Waldorf in New York and the Statler in Boston, arguing in a restaurant once. When those men died, he went to their estates and got their permission to use the first hotel in America that had a free radio in every room. Although I don't believe that, because I checked in there 6 months ago and I spent 4 hours looking around for that radio. I couldn't find it. Anyway, how many people here have been to Rome? Who's been to Rome? You ever see the Trevi Fountain? We have some